Hey gamers, it's Risky. I'm going to be playing Timespinner. It's a heavily Castlevania-inspired Metroidvania. There's a lot to take in early on, so I'll try and explain it all. So we have a backdash, we have a melee attack with each of these blue orbs, and we have an aura blast that we can charge, or we can slightly charge it and shoot a small version of it. The first segment here is all about managing our mana with the small aura shots, and trying to efficiently kill all the small enemies at the beginning. And one aura shot and one melee will kill these guys, and the goal is to reach level 2 before we get to the first boss. The main movement take you're seeing, it's called risky dashing, for some reason, I don't know why. But that is backdashing, and then during the backdash you jump and attack on the same frame. And when you do that, it carries about half the momentum from the backdash into your jump. And as long as you're doing your melee attack animation, it will carry some of the speed with you while you're in the air. That's why you see us doing multiple attacks sometimes. And we're going to be using that through the whole run. Here we just picked up the major mechanic of the game, and this is time stopping. You'll see a meter up in the top left, which indicates how much we can stop time. It's an hourglass with sand in it. And you can stop time to prevent platforms from falling like we just did there, and to stop enemies from moving entirely, and to kind of use them as platforms as well. It's a very fun skill to use casually, and we make a lot of use of it in the speedrun as well. And as we finish this climb up here, we'll be hitting level 2 on this last enemy, and we'll be entering the first boss. First boss here is a big robotic cat, and it's the major RNG part of the run. A lot of resets to this cat. There are 4 different attacks he can do. This is the attack we want him to do every time. Each one's a 25% chance, so this fight is pretty much perfect RNG. The more he does that attack, we can just get maximum DPS when he does it. Don't complain about this. When you are right next to an enemy with the blue orbs, you attack, and on the first frame the blue orb will hit, and it has a 7-frame cooldown and it's out for 8 frames. So assuming you're directly next to an enemy, you can double hit them with the orb. You'll be seeing that tech a lot as we fight basically every boss and enemy in the game. We try and be as close to it as possible. Here in the waterways we have some pretty specific strats to time stop these moving platforms and get through here as fast as we can. It can be pretty spooky, and I've definitely lost a lot of runs to just falling in the water. We picked up a memory in that last room, and we had already picked up one earlier in the run. But when you pick one up, it's kind of a lore thing, but it also gives you money. Each one gives you 250, and we need to buy a ring in the shop coming up. A gold ring, which is a material used for crafting something later on, and it costs 500, so that's why we buy both. Or we grab both of those memories. Here we grab the security keycard D, which we need to open certain doors. And the shop is this cool little crow guy with a adorable hat on. So we got the gold ring, and we'll be using that later. We'll explain that later though. And we're gonna come up here, open this D door, and we're gonna pick up a scythe ring and the colossal blade magic, as well as an ether. The Colossal Blade, it's going to replace our Aura Blast that we were using early on. And it's probably my favorite thing in the whole game. It just looks so cool. I use it my entire casual playthrough, and it's used in the speedrun a lot, so I'm happy about that. And we also get the Scythe Ring. And if you look at our blue orbs, you see these little green things orbiting around them, and that's the Scythe Ring. It adds extra damage to our auto attacks, and damage is good. Here we just run through this treadmill area. It's just faster RTA to walk through it, because messing up even a single dash will lose you time there. And now we are climbing up to get the next security keycard. Just gotta go through some intermediate rooms here and avoid these Roombas and these dudes throwing grenades at us. So you see the C door there. We're going to get the security C card right now. anytime you skip a cutscene, there's a 16 frame lockout on any input you do aside from just pressing left or right. So you need to time what you do out of the cutscene well. It's kind of frustrating sometimes, but small thing. And here we're just going to have as clean movement as we can, and we're going to kill a few of the enemies in here with the C-Blade. This is our first time you get to see it. And it's freaking sweet, just a giant sword that kills everything. And we have a very specific experience route throughout the rest of the game as well. Here we're going to damage boost through these spiders. And we're going to grab the elevator keycard, which will let us use the elevators. Imagine that. And this is a very good pace. Getting to the save point before 6 minutes is excellent. That's definitely where you want to be. We're going to take the elevator down and grab this. We're just going to enter this room for a second, and that's going to unlock it for later use, for when we're able to warp around, which we'll get to when we get to it. But here we grab another memory for 250 shards, and also we pick up an essence crystal, which is the other thing we need to craft the bleak ring later on, which will be after this segment. Use the C card again to get through that door, and we're on to the second boss here. This is Varndragoth, and he's a weird looking one. It's a big eyeball with spikes attached. And for this boss, the main thing you're doing is between each attack he floats over to your current position. So his pattern is a set pattern. So after the missiles, we make sure we're positioned in a specific spot down bottom so that we can jump up to this platform and get double hits on him. Where we're standing right now is a 2-pixel position that lets you fully attack him while he's doing attacks, and it's pretty tough to get. I think I actually had it there, but I didn't trust it, so I just jumped off and DPS'd him regularly. And there we go. We fit in C-Blades during the fight as best we can, and that was a pretty good fight. Definitely messed the last part of that fight up and recovered like crazy. Holy shit. I've never ever gone up there to attack that guy like that. Yo, Turk, what's up? I'm right in what I just said. So, kill the boss. After every boss is a health refill, but we don't need it right now, and we usually don't pick them up. We're just going to go back to the rooms we were just in and head back up to where we found the security C card and activate the Timespinner wheel because we just got the part for it that we needed. This is like one of the major plot points of the game, is that you can go back and forth between the future and the present, and you're essentially trying to save the world by going back in time and trying to fix things. That's the TLDR plot. I don't want to spoil too much. So here we just crafted the bleak ring, which is what we were talking about before. And we'll equip that eventually. But what it does is double your damage over the course of a fight. So as you hit something with your orbs, your damage will start to stack up, and you'll deal increasingly more until it reaches 2 times damage and then it stops. And you also take that much damage, you take that much more damage yourself. So we'll be taking twice as much damage once it's stacked up. And this is our first piece of gear that we pick up, the pointy hat. And each piece of gear gives you defense and damage, essentially. So originally when we ran this game, it was just on the vanilla patch, and it was about a 10% chance to get the rare chest that we needed for the pointy hat to drop. And then throughout the run, there were 5 different items that all had a 2% drop rate. So getting good RNG in this game was like, the chances of a perfect run was less than like 0.5% or something absurd. And the dev luckily listened to our calls, our pleas, and he added the speedrun mode, which is what we're running on right now. And it guarantees all rare drops in the run, which is beautiful. And you'll be seeing us pick up a lot more items as we get later into the run, and I'll point it out. And so far, the movement in this segment was pretty clean, except for that part and hitting this bird, but the rest of it was very smooth. When you destroy the little objects in the background, they automatically drop sand if your sand gauge isn't full. So we're a little sloppy here, lost a few seconds. That's alright. We hit the save, and we equip the bleak ring right before this boss. And now this bird, there are a few pixels you can stand right in front of it to just be able to freely DPS it without it bumping into you, and you can avoid this blue attack right here. That would push you to the wall normally. And we freeze time and charge a Sea Blade, jump over the Aura Blast when it shoots it. And we're going to do a cool strat here, where we get hit and we damage boost through the bird's model and get to the other side, and this lets us fully DPS it during these chains. We do that earlier in the fight, but the first thing the bird tries to do is shoot you through itself and slam you against the wall on the far side of the room if you are on the left side of it. And the only way to do that efficiently is during the chains, because it'll just keep doing the chains attack until it's done. Now we're introduced to warping. My stream been dropping frames all day, basically. And we're able to warp to any waypoint that we've been to before. So we went back to the camp that we were just at. Now that we killed the bird and we have warps, we're just going to head to the next area, which is the Castle Keep. This is all just about efficient movement. That's pretty much the name of this whole game, is moving efficiently through everywhere. We kill bats along the way because they give a ridiculous amount of EXP for some reason. And you can maintain your momentum while jumping through the water if you keep attacking. My boy Bentizi with the host. Thank you for the host, Ben. My stream's been dropping frames and shit today, so sorry, any new viewer. It's not usually like this, but... welcome. These are some of the more awkward rooms in terms of moving through them efficiently, because you can't jump too high and you can't really efficiently dash through them. You just kind of have to like climb on the guys and work your way through them. This section's a little sloppy. It's a nice little strat, try and get through this place quickly. And here's one of the only actual damage boost strats that we do. We bump into this guy so we can slide through the next one, even though we messed it up. Still pretty much the fastest way to go through that room. And now we're going to kill these mage-looking guys called advisors. And we pick up an advisor robe off them. That's another item that buffs our damage. We're going to use this guy to jump up here. And then we're going to use our ether to restore our mana, which we picked up a long time ago, before we get to this next boss. And we got a perfectly timed level up right before the boss. And this boss is called Idol. This is... he controls these twins, which are basically puppets. And then you just fight this big old mask guy. Main thing for this fight is just trying to get double hits when he slams down, which we're getting pretty good here. And after a certain HP threshold, he's going to do this buzzsaw attack. And we're going to try and position ourselves on the edge of this platform so we slide towards him and bait him into doing this slam again. He has other attacks, but the positions that we're standing prevent him from doing them. And that was a really good fight. Not much more to say about that one. Now that the idol's dead, we get double jump. Your classic Metroidvania skill. It would not be a Metroidvania without a double jump. And we can maintain our air momentum with the double jump too. As long as we keep doing our melee attacks. And we're now heading to Arana, which is the next boss. And that's a sweet little jump right there. Saves a few seconds, not having to grab the ledge if you do it right. This is one of the scarier parts of the run. We missed a few dashes there. You can see how much slower our momentum is when we mess it up. And jump up to this ghost, quickly get up here. And this is our last shopping trip of the run. We buy 2 warp shards, which, when you use them, bring us to the last waypoint that you used. A little spooky. And there's a small skip. It's just icicle skip. The guy shoots an icicle out of himself, and you jump up using it to the next ledge. And we're gonna kill these 2 chaos guards here. They each drop a chaos stole, which is like a scarf basically, but you can equip 2 of them, and they buff your damage and your defense significantly. And those were, again, a 2% drop rate in the old game. It was just impossible to do speedruns. But here's Arana. And we're mainly going to focus on staying as close to her as we can without getting hit, and getting double hits on her. You can tell you have a good start of the fight if you're doing 15 to 16 damage on your hits before she raises up for these lightning. And we are. And now you get a lot of damage on her during this attack. And that was a great fight. We don't have to wait for the health refill because we're at full life. So we warp shard back, and then we're going to warp to a spot directly to the right of the camp. And we're going to head down for what is probably the biggest reset point of the run for most runs. And it's called Maw Skip, but we'll talk about that when we get to it. Here we're just going to move down, efficiently avoid these cats and these bats. Dashing back on slopes is really awkward and you generally can't get a good risky dash out of it, so when there is a slope, we just avoid it. Don't want to hit these oozes. A little awkward. We gotta kill these mushrooms in our way. And this is Maw Skip. We're gonna walk in front of this guy, bait him to do a single attack, and then we're gonna have him walk over and wait. We freeze time right when he hits us. We crouch and stand up, and that pushes us into the ground, which we then transition to the right and go through out of bounds into the elevator shaft below us, which is like a 4 or 5 minute time save. Normally you have to go around, get a mask, go back in time to get to this boss. And we just skip right to him. This is the hardest boss in the game. You walk up and then you melee attack him. and he never hits you. It's very difficult, I promise. You can tank the laser, and then the boss is dead. So we've been killing these bosses throughout the run to unlock one area, which is blocked by these 3 lasers that we cannot glitch through, unfortunately. Many people have tried. And we killed all 3 of the bosses. And now this part right here, it destroys the gate. Normally there's a gate here blocking you from progressing into the military hangar. Now the run gets intense. Jump up here. Some scary rooms coming up. And there's another drop that we get. The lab glasses. It's like the pointy hat, but twice as strong, basically. Pretty cool strat here. Going all the way across with an extended risky dash, and getting through this room pretty quick. And then we make it to the labs. Now the labs has the other major glitch in the run, and it is an out of bounds involving your crouch hitbox. We're going to go up here, and we're going to skip to the dash upgrade, which normally you have to go destroy this thing and it unlocks this laser for you, but if we crouch and then melee and backdash on the same frame, it bugs our hitbox to always have the crouching hitbox. And this lets us jump with a well-timed double jump out of bounds. We fudge it a little bit in this run. Probably lose about 5 seconds to it here, unfortunately. And now we're going to pick up our final piece of gear, which is the lab coat. Also adds a ridiculous amount of damage. And now it's time for Ginza, the second to last boss. Ginza is this weird shapeshifter dude, chick, I'm not sure. I think it's a he who takes the shape of your mother. And we switch to Blade Orb, which is the first time you see us switch off the blue orb, because Ginza is actually weak to sharp. There are damage types in this game, but it's only really relevant on this boss. And we use the Blade Orb, since it has a cooldown, we time stop between each hit to maximize the amount of time Ginza is above ground. Otherwise, she likes to go underground and kind of puddle everywhere and just waste your time. Yeah, we lost some time in that split, and that was definitely to the laser out of bounds, because that fight was really good. And now we have Ghost Skip coming up, for lack of a better name. But the way these little ghosts work is that if you're in front of them, when they decide to attack, they'll shoot a fireball out. So if you stay behind them the whole time, they'll never shoot the fireball out. Easy enough. There's a very good skip there. Now the dash upgrade, you see us just sliding along the ground. That's the upgrade that we picked up behind those lasers. And we equip Blue Orb again before the last boss. We kind of fudged this menu here. It's very spooky towards the end of the run to mess that up on such good pace. And this is Nubius, the final boss. He has a set pattern of attacks. There's the shurikens here, and then he's going to do this big purple thing. We want to stay on the right, so he shoots it out, and then he creates this spot behind us, the safe spot we can stand. And most of the attacks are just time stopping and then jumping behind him and doing as much damage to him as he can. He has his own C-Blade here. That would pretty much one-shot us, so we really want to avoid it. All of his attacks do ridiculous damage since we stack up Bleak Ring. Oh my god! Oh my god, we fucking did it. Oh, we fucking did it. Oh my god, dude, I'm shaking so much. So we had a goal of 23:30 something for a long time. It wasn't that long, I guess, a few weeks. And we finally got it. This was a sick run. Within 13 or 14 seconds of our summer best. And it feels great to finally get the run. I'm probably going to be done with Timespinner for a while. Hope you guys enjoyed the run. I appreciate you watching. If you have any questions, you can come to the Timespinner Discord. I'll put it in the description. Take it easy.